everybody, it's Amy, also known as Aussie Stitcher in Texas, here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. Thank you for joining me today on this beautiful Saturday in January for my WIP Parade. My first video that I posted back in June was a WIP Parade, and I decided to do another one now. It is the season for WIP Parades, and also I want to be able to show everybody the progress I've made on those projects that I have moved forward from the first WIP Parade I did, or that I haven't completed, sorry, from my first WIP Parade to this one today. So again, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you watching my videos. If you could find it in your heart to like and subscribe this video, I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have all had a wonderful holiday season and a great start to 2023. So let's get started here. We're going to start in I'm going to have everything in chronological order, starting with my oldest piece through to my newest piece. So first off, we have my Faces of Faery 201, which is a Heaven and Earth Designs piece. Here is what it will look like when it's finished. Forgive, it's just a printout, so it doesn't, do it the best justice in the world. Heaven and Earth Designs, designed by Jasmine Beck Grifith. Excuse me, as I'm trying to keep myself a little bit organized. I am doing this on a 32 count gridded fabric that I picked up from 123 Stitch. I will pop up what it looked like at the first WIP Parade, so you can see what I've got in about 6 months worth of progress. Here we go. Try to make it a little bit more manageable for everybody to see. So here we are. This is where I am up to. Oh, I'm cutting off the bottom, I apologize. So I now have the full length and the full width of this piece. So all the way over to the side, this is how wide it is, and then down to the bottom of that swan is how long it is. So you can get a really good idea of what size it's going to be. This is Pattern Keeper compatible, and I am 69% complete with this, or 21,134 stitches, which I know for some heids is actually quite small, but this is my first haid, so I'm actually really quite proud of this. I do want to try and finish this project this year. I started this on November 26th of 2021. So if I can finish it by November of this year, that means it would have taken me about 2 years. I do also have the companion piece for this. So this is like the black swan. I have the white swan as well that I would like to do, but I want to try and have a little bit of self-control and do only have one haid at a time in my rotation. But this is, if I didn't have Pattern Keeper, I don't think I could do a haid at all, but I am really enjoying this. There is some block stitching, a lot of confetti in places, but it is really quite great. And if anybody's interested, I use these to store all of my projects in. They are so convenient and nice and affordable. I just picked them up on Amazon. I think you get a pack of about 25. Amazon, the pricing fluctuates, but I think the last time I saw it, it was about maybe $15 or $16. So, like I said, very affordable. Next up, we have my Fancy Lady. I started this on January 17 of 2022. This is Garden Prelude by Mirabilia. I am doing this in all of the called for DMC and Karen Waterlily and Krynic. And it is absolutely stunning. The only thing I did change was the fabric. I am not doing the called for fabric. I have Loki by Fabrics by Stephanie. So this is quite large. Let me move back. I did also do the skin 1/1. I haven't put the back stitch in yet, so I don't have the full effect of what it looks like, but based on what I see, I don't think I'll do 1/1 again. It wasn't, I purposely picked this one because she doesn't have a lot of skin. So I was like, that's a good idea to start a trial on 1/1, but I don't think I'll do it again. It was pain and it was heartache. And I've done another Mirabilia before with it where I did the skin 2/2, and I think she looks just great anyway. But like I said, this is a Fabrics by Stephanie, Loki, 32 count lugana. Yes, 32 count lugana. And I'm probably 70% of the way there. I just have the back stitch to do around her face and the violin, kind of more archways and columns, a little bit more of the dress, and a little bit more of the flowers. So where it kind of goes that length on that side, it is on this side as well. So not too much more. I do have, you know, Mirabilia's print on a massive piece of paper that I think mine is two-sided. So I always make a working copy, and I've done one of the pieces of paper is complete apart from backstitch. So this is another one I do hope to finish probably in the next couple months. Because I am going to be starting another fancy lady, and this is another one where I was trying to have a little bit of control and only have one fancy lady at a time. But I'm now 1 year into that project, a little over 1 year. Okay. Next up is my Twisted Rainbow Sampler by Northern Expression Needlework. I started this on March 2nd of 2022. This is just the cross stitch version. I haven't done the specialty stitches version. I'm not too confident in specialty stitches yet, so I thought, but I didn't want to wait to do this piece. It is just stunning. I am color completing, as you can see, as I go. So I do have the full width of this piece. I'm almost down to the length. I think I only have 1 or 2 more colors before it then kind of hits the end as such. I could be very wrong, I can't remember. I am 42% done on this piece, or 9,301 stitches. It is Pattern Keeper compatible. And this is just a black 28 count Zweigart, I think, Lugana, or Jovelin, it could be. This is another one. I don't think this will be finished this year, but I want to at least get another 3 or 4 colors into it. It is on my WIP Go board. I do participate in WIP Go each year, and for each call when it comes up, I have the goal of being, you know, complete 1 color. That may increase if you noticed at the start, like the reds at the top were quite small. So once I start getting into areas where there's less colors, I may add another color, or I may not. It depends on what I have on that month. But that is project number 3. Sorry. A little hydration break. My next piece is called, well, I call it Ursula. It is a villain crest. This is what it will look like when it's finished. This is by AtomicTikiPins over on Etsy. And this is also Pattern Keeper compatible. This, I am almost finished with the stitching portion of it. I'm actually at 99%. I only have about another 100 stitches to go, but there is a serious amount of backstitch here. Basically everything you can see has backstitch in there to really, you know, highlight and define what you're looking at. And there are also French knots and all sorts of fun things. This is also Pattern Keeper compatible for the stitching portion, obviously not for the backstitch or the French knots, but you know, for the majority of it, it is, which is really nice. I love pieces that are Pattern Keeper compatible. I am doing this on a 32 count black lugana, and I started this on May the 6th, 2022. So let's put this away. I do have some of the other villain crests that AtomicTikiPins does, Tori. I have the Hades crest, Gaston, and Maleficent. I will probably pick up Hades next after Ursula is complete. I'll also be cutting the fabric. I bought a huge piece of black fabric with the idea of kind of doing them all side by side. It's very unmanageable to have that big of a piece of black fabric when you don't need it. It's different if it's, you know, the piece requires that. You kind of can, or at least I feel like I can put up with it a bit more if I know, well, this whole piece needs this giant piece of fabric. These pieces don't need the giant piece of fabric. So once I'm done with Ursula, I'm going to cut her down, and then I'll also cut out the piece for the next crest. That way it's just more manageable to work with. I'm not working with, 3 feet worth of fabric either side. Oh, sorry for the zipper sound if that bothers anybody. What do we have next? So next up, I have my Wicked Witchcraft by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Here is what she'll look like when she's finished. Sorry, it's printed a bit dark, but it is a Halloween piece. I have many Autumn Lane Stitchery patterns. I really like their work. I participate in their stitch-alongs. Like I said, I have about 3 or 4 of their patterns, 2 of which are complete, and I just love them. This piece started August 5th of 2022. This is all with the called for. I am using the called for fabric, which is a 32 count lugana in the color Naiad by Under the Sea Fabrics. Oh, let me make this a bit smaller. Oh, and that was the back. I am going to make one change, however. There is a, I believe it calls for 3819 is the color for like around the cauldron and like the magic. I'm going to do that in a variegated floss that I have that I got in a Black Needle Society box. It's a similar color, but it just has a little bit of variegation. But this is where I am at. Lots of block stitching. It only has, I think, 5 colors. So 939, it calls for like 5 or 6 skeins. I think that's 501, and then a purple, and then there will be the magic that's kind of coming up as well. Oh, and a little bit of white, I believe, or ecru. So I like the raven. I love her hat. Absolutely love it. So this is on my WIP Go call as well. Nice and easy. It's good if you just want to do a little bit of, you know, what I like to call mindless stitching. It's just one color. You know, you can thread up 3 or 4, you know, needles and just have them sitting on the needle minder, and then just, you know, plug away until, you know, you're ready to move on to something else. So that's a good piece to have in the rotation, especially when I have my Haid, which does have some confetti. It's nice to then be able to get to a piece that has all that block stitching, just to, you know, as a little bit of a palette cleanser to then help you get back into the craziness that is confetti at times. So that was piece number 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. Next up is actually another Autumn Lane Stitchery pattern. It is their current stitch along that they have going on, which is Dark Queen of the Earth. I started this on September 3rd. It did start on September 1st, but my linen was a little bit late in getting to me, which is fine. I still caught up, and I remain caught up to this day. So look at this. This is on a 32 count linen in the color Nightshade by Under the Sea Fabrics. It is one of the called for options. This time they actually gave 2. You could choose this one, which is Nightshade, which I absolutely loved on the linen. Even though I normally prefer to stitch on an even weave, the colors just show up so much better on the linen in comparison. Or there was another color called Gilded Oak, which was more of a oaky color, as it sounds. But I am pretty much caught up. I just have a little bit more to do on this side here, but I will be caught up before the end of the month. And I'm really hoping to stay caught up with this one. If I do, that means I would be finished in, well, basically by September. It started in September of 2022. It is a monthly release. It's a year-long stitch along, so the last release will be out in August. Depending on what I have going on, that's a busy time for me work-wise. But hopefully I'll have it finished by the end of August or into the beginning of September. Like I said, I really want to try and stay caught up. I was doing their Dark Queen of the Seas, which I still have. She's kind of in a timeout. I'm not in love with her anymore, but I still have it. I have not gotten rid of it. And that I also started, I think, about 3 or 4 months in. So I never really caught up with that one. And I like to try and stay caught up. It keeps me motivated to keep stitching. And Aaron and Cassandra are just absolute geniuses when it comes to the pieces that they are designing. And that is all with the called for. They use just DMCs, which is nice. Oh, sorry. Next up, I have a cricket collection. It is autumn. Oh, sorry. That is what I'm working on. I love this. This is, for me, what I consider a small. You know, I'm not a big smalls stitcher. I like doing the bigger pieces. So for me, this is a small. I really like it. It's on a little piece of fabric that I dyed myself, just using RIT dye. I started this on October 23rd of 2022. I just picked up the fabric at Michael's and then just dyed it myself with RIT dye. This is a 28 count Monaco. I am using all the called for here as well, 2/2, with the slight exception, it does give you the option of using a fancy floss, which is a silken colors, or they give you the DMC kind of equivalent, and I just went with the DMC. You know, it was just one color. I didn't want to splurge out on a fancy floss just for that. But that is where I am at. I really like these. I've done winter as well, which you can see in my last WIP Parade. It was a finish from 2021, I think. So that's all finished, fully finished. I have it out at the moment because it is still winter time, even if the weather is quite warm today. But I'm not sure I will do the others, spring and summer, even though I'm probably more of a spring person. I don't love that pattern. I don't think the colors, I feel like there's too much fade in between the colors that you're using to stitch and the fabric that was chosen. I could really get into it and try and find a better fabric for it, but until I get to that point, I haven't purchased them, and I'm not gonna do them unless it pops out. Oh, sorry, I did make one more change with this piece. I'm not sure if it will show up on camera, but I have changed the hat. Oh, you can kind of see it, to just a toile. It just called for it in 310, but I decided I had the étoile, so I was like, I'm gonna do the étoile. Make my pumpkin a little fancy. And that, I only have the rest of the U and the A to do, so that should be finished hopefully in the next month or so. Next up is actually a piece that I started before autumn. I just had it out of order. This I started on September 10th. This is Visit Lothlorien by Country Magic Stitch. I do have what it looks like. There we go. So this is what it will look like when it's done. It is a full coverage piece. It is not full coverage like a Haid is full coverage, or at least this one. I don't know about the rest of Country Magic Stitches. I've only got, this is the only one I have started so far. Lots of block color, only about 15 or 16 colors in total, all DMC. And this is where I'm up to. So I am 29.4% complete, or 6,621 stitches. I'm really liking this. The kind of dimension it has up here in the trees, which kind of to the naked eye look like it's one color. It's actually two colors. It's not so obvious, but it's subtle enough that you can see it. And it's just really easy to do. I love it. Another kind of mindless stitch. Even though there is kind of, you do need to pay attention around here. But that's where I'm at with that one. Okay. And then last but not least is a piece by Stitcherovia. I don't have a printout of what it will look like, so I will pop it up here. It is Life with Tequila, and I am doing this on a 28 count just even weave that I picked up at one of the craft stores and just dyed it myself with some either beige or tan. It was white and I just dyed it slightly. Just a quick dye, threw it in, rinsed it out good because I didn't want it to be too dark. That's where we're at with that. I am almost finished with this one as well. This is at 90.8% or 6,682 stitches done. I just have up here the salt shaker and then a little bit more at the bottom. I am doing this for a friend of mine. I'm going to give this to her for her birthday. She loves the margarita. So I am very proud of that. Should be finished by early February, hopefully, because her birthday is in late February and I need to get it finished. If anybody has any ideas on how to finish something like that, it's not big, but it's not small. I don't think I could do a flat fold. I could do kind of a mounted kind of piece and then just kind of have something to like hang it. Or I could try to frame it, get a little frame. If I do that, if anybody can point me in the direction of any YouTube videos where someone's framing a piece, because I have no idea about lacing or anything like that. Those are all my WIPs. I only have 9 at the moment. It is you know, a manageable number. I really like it. It means that basically everything is getting touched in the year through WIP Go, if not me picking it up sooner than what WIP Go is calling it for. So I really like that. I do, however, want to start a couple more pieces. I do have my New Year, New Start, which I'll be starting next week, even though we're towards the end of January. I was away at the beginning of January, only came back the middle of this month, and then was trying to get caught up on my Dark Queen before I started my next piece. So I will be starting that as part of the Teresa Made Me Do It style from Teresa Little Stitcher. If you haven't checked out her channel, please do. She's absolutely amazing. She does a lot of live sessions. Normally for me in Texas, it is like Sunday around noon or 1 o'clock. Between noon and I'd say 2 o'clock is when she does her live. So very kind of convenient time on a Sunday if you're, you know, if you're home, obviously, depending on what you have to do during the day. I'm usually home, so I can join. And I'm really looking forward to that. It's another fancy lady that I'll be doing. It is a Bella Filipina, maiden of Tubatava. I probably have said that so wrong. I've tried to look up how to pronounce it and just cannot find it, but it's absolutely amazing. It is my first mermaid, so I'm really looking forward to that. I also have a couple of frosted pumpkin pieces that I want to start throughout the year, but I do want to keep my WIPs to about that 12, you know, between 12 or less. So then that way everything will get touched during a year through WIP Go. Thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, as I said, like and subscribe to my videos if you want to keep seeing more content. I do have playlists on my channel created if you want to see my journey on how I've been going and the pieces I've been doing, because I did complete a couple of pieces throughout the year that obviously are not in a WIP Parade. And so I hope you will go and watch those. But if not, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you're having a great start to the new year and that it continues strongly. Thanks everybody. Bye.